to the Environmental Leadership Chronicles, a podcast brought to you by the California Association of Environmental Professionals. In this episode, we feature Corinne Lytle Bonine and Konnie Dobreva to talk about AEP's recently launched mentorship program. We are recording at the AEP conference in Lake Tahoe, where Konnie and Corinne are going to present more on the mentorship program. And for those of you who did not attend, wanted a chance to share some updates with you as well. Thanks so much. Hi, I'm Jessa. My pronouns are she, her.
Hi, I'm Corinne. My pronouns are she, her as well.
I'm Konnie Dobreva, and my pronouns are she, her.
Today, we are speaking with Corinne and Konnie about AEP's mentorship program. New program. Corinne, tell us what it's about.
We are so excited to be, knee deep in rolling out our mentorship program. I think those of you who have heard maybe several of the podcasts that I've had the pleasure to join Jessa on, I've shamelessly inserted little plugs for the program here and there. But what we're trying to do is really have kind of two tracks for our mentorship program. The first is a programmed mentorship cycle, which will allow any AEP member to register to sign up to be a part of it. From within that, we will offer both one-on-one mentorship as well as peer mentoring groups. And then for that, our registration is actually going to end on April 30th. So for those of you who are hearing this before that, if there are any of you, sign up, don't hesitate. If you're hearing this after April 30th, we also have the second part of our mentorship program, which is at-will mentoring. And what we've done at AEP is use our website and our membership database as a tool to have people designate whether they want to be a mentor or a mentee or both, as well as answer some other key demographic and career-related experience details so that any AEP member can go into our membership database and search for someone who is looking to be a mentor or looking to be a mentee, as well as choosing some parameters if they're important to you in a mentor or a mentee. And then we'll spit out a list of people who meet the parameters you've selected. So have no fear. If you're hearing this after April 30th, there is still an opportunity to get involved in our mentoring program.
Great. And so why did AEP launch? What was the impetus behind launching this program?
I think it's been a long-held desire for the organization to have it. Other organizations have it. Some of us have participated in mentorship programs in other organizations. Most of us have had wonderful mentors in AEP, unofficial. We've had somebody choose to mentor us in our careers, or they've been our champion at conferences, our champion with the organization. They brought us onto the boards and introduced us. And for me personally, AEP is, I always say it's the difference between having a job and having a career. And I think that's the difference between having mentors and a group that will champion for you. And so we wanted to provide that opportunity, especially because AEP has grown our student membership by leaps and bounds, and it makes up almost 50% of our organization now.
Wow.
And that was a concerted effort over the last 2 years as a part of our strategic plan. And it felt like it was time to really provide a structure within which our students and young professionals, emerging professionals, and also mid-level and senior can start to then information share and help each other.
I think to add to that, a big focus is the DEI initiatives that AEP is working on. And I sat in on a session we're recording live at the conference, and it was belonging. It was DEI and belonging. And I think this mentorship program, like you're speaking about, with the number of students who've joined the organization, that mentorship program can foster that sense of belonging within the organization. So you got them in, signed up, and it's like, well, now what? How do I use this? So that's great.
And I think, another thing we've been trying to do is take what worked during the pandemic and keep it. So in this case, we're all super familiar now with doing virtual meetings and, being able to build and sustain relationships where you're not in the same location. So using, kind of what we learned while we were all, separated to create new opportunities like, portions of this mentorship program, I think was something that we've really tried to do with AEP.
And with this podcast, I've had the benefit of being in all the interviews at this point, but Well, that's not true. Actually, some panels I'm in the background. But anyway, mentorship is such a huge theme of all these leaders that we interview. It keeps coming up. And I think it's difficult to know how do you ask for a mentor? And I think a lot of people know the importance of mentorship, but then having a platform or a little bit more structure in a way that feels a little less intimidating to reach out to some of these experienced professionals will be so, so helpful for students and like early career professionals.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that, the way we've set up kind of those two different, ways to get involved really plays to, people's strengths with what they want to do. If it's easier to, sign up a registration, get put in a group and be able to, meet with a group for the next, 12 months, we have that for you. If you really want to, meet one-on-one, we have that for you. If you, want to, take the initiative and really, narrow down how you find a mentor, we've done that with our Outwill option as well. So really trying to make sure we build a mentorship program that is inclusive, so that we can, build to that belonging that you guys both mentioned.
And with this, and I understand it's probably different with different tracks that you select for which program works, but I think about this on, maybe the more like experience side is like, what's the time commitment? And I know a lot of people want to give back and mentor and understand the importance of it, but I don't have time or I'm too busy. And so I was wondering what that looks like for the program.
So we built our programmed, mentorship cycle to be 9 meetings with either your one-on-one pair or your mentorship group, all lasting about an hour. We've developed materials that goes through, list of potential topics to discuss, gives reading materials, gives listening or even watching materials. We've tried to have a lot of different media there. So the intent is that you spend, that hour largely once a month, and then probably, maybe 30 minutes outside of that, reading the materials or picking and choosing, what you want to do for that meeting. And so it's intended to be, pretty low stakes. We're not trying to assign homework to everyone. But we also, have built flexibility into the program so that if, let's say your, peer mentoring group all gets really excited about a book that, is brought up on one of the session materials, give yourselves a couple months to read it. And then you can either separate from the program or, replacing one of the sessions that maybe you're less interested in, you can sit down and talk about it. So we really want, participants in the program to build what they want out of it. And we've just, tried to give enough materials to make it easy on you, but certainly take it in whatever direction you want.
That's great. I mean, it's kind of, when you say this, it's like, here's the format, here's the structure, here are topics. And that's not that much commitment over that term. And I think that's something that, for example, when I've served as a mentor, I'm like, well, what am I supposed to talk about? What am I supposed to do? And then the mentee's like, well, you're supposed to tell me what I'm supposed to do. And so having that some like guidelines and suggestions on how to meet, like takes the guesswork and stress out of that. Any other,
and it's over the course of a year, generally speaking. So 9 meetings over the course of a year. And a lot of the materials are there to foster discussion, but also to help create relationships. The purpose is to help you create your network. If you're an emerging professional, or if you are a seasoned senior professional that maybe is a sole practitioner and just wants to connect more with other disciplines and other practices. I think this program is intended to serve everybody, to help them grow their network, create meaningful relationships for people that will then help champion you through your career. The focus is not topic-based and teaching you something about the environmental profession. Technically, it's intended to deal with some of the soft skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, one thing we were really conscious of when developing the program is that, mentorship is a two-way street. So just because you might be, the more experienced person in a, mentor-mentee relationship, the experienced people have just as much to learn from maybe someone coming into the field a little newer than vice versa. So we wanted to make sure that there was that ability to, mentor up, mentor down, because the, intergenerationality of the environmental profession is so important if we're going to be able to meet some of the really big challenges we have in front of us.
Well, also congratulations to you guys on launching this. I know, speaking of the time commitment, I can imagine this took a lot of time and energy to champion this and move this forward. And with almost 2,300 members, and being able to get a program for an organization that size is awesome. And I'm so excited to see like how this evolves and the results that come from this. And like you said, the relationships and at the conferences and all these things, I think is just going to have like such a compounding value.
Yeah, and we really should give a shout out. There was a whole mentorship committee that helped us with this. So, they made mine and Connie's lives a lot easier by, being such great contributors to preparing session materials, to giving us ideas, to, going out and implementing kind of some of our earlier stages of work. So big shout out to the entire mentorship committee, because we couldn't have done it without you.
Awesome.
No, we couldn't have. And even during, what was wonderful for me was even during the process of creating this, and this was a passion project for all of us because we're all volunteers, you have to carve time out. Even during the process of being in that group of creating the materials, we actually called each other to support each other for different, hey, I'm doing a job change, I'm thinking about doing this, or I have this issue at work, and how did you handle it? And so we were able to also mentor each other during the process. And we thought, okay, great, we're on the right track of what we're doing.
I love that. That's what a good story to come out of that. Like as you're developing the program, you're going through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, great. Well, thank you guys so much for taking time away from the conference. I know there's a million sessions and the conference has been fantastic. Are there any other parting thoughts that you want to get out about the program?
Maybe just if you're listening to this and you want to know more about the mentorship program, if you go to the California AEP's website, one of the tabs on it is dedicated to mentorship. So if you click on that, we have links to a webinar that we taped that kind of has the ins and outs of how to sign up for each of the programs. We even taped how to, look for a mentor on our database. So definitely check that out. We have a, brief document just about what the program is. So you have that in writing. We also have links to, again, how to search on that membership database, as well as some other mentoring materials. So check that out on our website. If you have any questions, once you've done that, don't hesitate to contact Connie or myself.
No, and for me, it's to encourage everybody, even if you're a little bit shy or it's outside of your comfort zone, take that step, get involved with the mentorship program. Continued engagement with the organization and with each other is how our environmental profession is going to continue to thrive, especially during a time when we are really seeking. We don't have enough environmental professionals. We have so many young professionals and emerging coming in, probably the most we've had at a conference ever. When you look out, there's so many young faces. And let's engage them and grow them into the professionals that we need to serve California's upcoming needs.
Perfect ending. Thank you both for joining. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to be updated when new episodes are released and leave us a review to let us know what you think. It also really helps us to share the podcast with others who may enjoy learning about the environmental industry. If you want to submit a shout out or any feedback, please send an email or voice memo to podcast@califaep.org. The email again is podcast with an S, podcast@califaep.org.